Here's our guest coming in. This is Ricky Gervais.
Hello, Ricky.
Everybody.
Right,
welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well,
Let's see for my giant.
sit down.
You want me to hold your coffee while you...
I've actually got Trump hands. That isn't a big cup.
It's a small...
Tiny cup.
He said he's got
Trump hands.
Trump hands, so the cup looks much bigger.
You want to put it down here?
Ricky is sitting down here
What can go wrong?
Yeah.
at our town hall,
Right.
putting his beverage on our
This
electronics.
is more intense than I thought.
Yeah,
This
it's a
is,
high-up
right?
chair.
I know, it's like psychological, no barriers or anything. It's just everyone. Oh, look at my sweatpants.
Ah, you look good. Who cares? We're filming it. We're great.
I know, yeah. Oh.
You and Jim, I think, have...
Do I need this?
You don't need it.
No.
Why do you
think
need
so.
it? You got beds and.
It makes me look like I belong here.
You and Jim have matching athletic shoes, I think.
Ricky is really shaming me into taking my headphones off.
He is?
Yeah.
Now I'm so self-conscious.
You and Jim both have your Asics on.
Like a newsreader. I don't want people seeing my legs.
Oh, wow. We have similar sneakers. We really do. Aren't they awesome?
But look at Jim's little white ankle socks.
This is good for radio, isn't it? Brilliant. Fashion on the radio. They look wonderful.
They do. They're great
Oh.
shoes. Well, welcome, Ricky.
Hello.
And
Thank you for
congratulations on the film.
Being alive.
On
this
being
long,
alive, yeah.
Not dying.
And being in
Thank
America.
you. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
being in America. I've just landed yesterday.
Yeah. How
From
was
where?
London.
And what did you do when you were there? Were you just working or were you just kind of hanging out?
What, in London?
Yeah.
I live there more than here. I
Okay.
I live in Hampstead, leafy Hampstead.
Are you doing stand-up when you're there?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing the last few months there, doing warm-ups.
You are.
I've done about 50, and the tour starts. It's like already a plug.
Yeah.
The tour starts in February. I'll do UK and keep going back and forth, between gigs and that. I want to do New York in May probably, and then other parts of America.
You haven't toured like
Because there are other parts of America,
Yes.
I've heard.
I don't know. I stick to here.
New Yorkers don't think there is, though. It's like it's
No.
New York and LA, and the rest is just a bunch of shit that we're not familiar with.
Right,
exactly.
Right. That's why nobody here understands how Trump won.
Yeah.
They're like, but we all, none of us voted for him. How
Well, he didn't really.
yeah. Where do you work?
Divide the audience straight
Yeah,
away.
exactly. You just figured out immediately.
Oh, I knew. No, because I went through Brexit. So I go out on stage and I go, oh, Brexit. And after people go, oh, yeah, people have got different opinions now. Oh, yeah.
It's a good litmus test, though.
Yeah. It was an inoculation for me because I lived through Brexit. And then when this happened, I thought, yeah, no, it was on its way.
Isn't it weird how mad people get at you for an opinion? Like, if you try to be funny with an opinion and that it's not their opinion, they get so angry at you for having the opinion.
Well, I think that was part of why this happened. I think people felt sick of being told what they can do and think, and it just divided into two camps, which isn't. There's 1,000 camps,
Right.
But they divided it into two, for or against, liberal elite or fascist, and it's like it's not that. It's you know what I mean? That's what it came to, and this was sort of like a reaction to that. I think that they went, no, we've had enough.
But it's just weird for like somebody like you to go from like the Golden Globes, where you were making the Hollywood liberal elite kind of upset with you because you were making fun of them, and that was a bit of your reputation, to being critical of Trump, which means you are now the Hollywood liberal
Of course,
elite.
it's all mixed up. People want to know whose side you're on before they decide what you said was funny or good or
Yes.
right. They've picked a side.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So people who like Trump will not see any bad in anything he does.
There are
He
people-
said himself, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and he's right, you know. And the other side won't see any good in what he does because you know what I mean? So it's they don't want to. There's this new thing of winning is more important than being right.
Right.
And it started with social media, it started with political correctness, where people now believe, they quite rightly believe their opinion is worth as much as someone else's opinion.
Yeah. Quite rightly, you just said to be polite.
Well, some people are idiots. Like, let's be honest. No, but even if your opinion is worth as much as someone else's opinion, people now think their opinion is worth as much as other people's facts. And it's the world gone crazy. The alternative facts. What? We used to call them lies.
Yeah.
What do you mean alternative facts?
Right.
People
And anything you don't agree with that you see, well, fake news.
Fake news.
That's fake
yeah.
news. That's not.
I know.
That's not the news.
I like
know.
alternative facts, though. Girls like, you said you were going to tell me. That was an alternative fact.
Well, it's dangerous, isn't it, that you can have alternative facts?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And again, I've sort of seen this happening for like 2 or 3 years on Twitter when you do get to meet people you wouldn't normally meet, you know, unless you went to a mental home. But now I can follow them from the safety of my Hampstead mansion. Oh, you're mental. You know. But they don't like facts. It annoys them. I found out when I went on Twitter, I found out that the atheists are the most hated group in the world. Right? You know, the people think atheists. There was
just
a poll,
for believing nothing.
just for not believing. yeah. They were voted least trustworthy group in America, joint bottom with rapists.
How about rapist atheists? They were the highest, actually, ironically.
Yeah. You find out things like that from Twitter, but you mainly find out that the average person is scarily misinformed.
Do you ever regret weighing in? Like sometimes you're like, oh, why did I say anything? I should have just said nothing.
I've gone through that. The first time I went on Twitter, I'd do a tweet, and one person who disagreed with it or misunderstood it, it would take me all day to explain the tweet. Right? Yeah. Then I got good at just doing the... And now I just don't give a fuck because someone's going to disagree with it. Someone's going to disagree with it just on principle. And people get in the way. They get in the way. You talk about something and people get offended. And I try and explain to them that, no, I'm not tweeting you. I'm just tweeting. It's like going into town and seeing a notice board and it says guitar lessons. And you go, I don't want fucking guitar lessons. Right? Well, no, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And they just get in the way. It doesn't matter what you do, someone gets in the way. Like, I go, sort of terrible thing, I'll ban bullfighting. Someone goes, what about the kids in Syria? Yeah, but I only had what? Yes, yes. It's not an option. Who is this person going? I would save the ball, but I just saved a kid in Syria. So I've run out of all my saving abilities. I can only do one thing in my life, and I used it on the kid from Syria.
Like it's a seesaw. Like you can't like one thing without disliking it.
And the people who say, oh, I've got a better cause, they don't do fuck all for that one either. Right. They're doing nothing. And they're going, what about this? Well, what are you doing? Nothing.
Well, they're criticizing you.
Of course.
They're making it so that you...
Yeah. So it's really, it's volatile and it's been going for a while.
As a stand-up, though, you kind of, sometimes you like a little, it's fun to convince people that they can laugh at something that they don't agree with. Like as a comic, you're up there telling them things that they're not going to agree with. I felt that was
my thing. All my life, I felt that was my thing. Making people laugh at things they didn't think they could. You know, taking a taboo subject and taking them by the hand through a scary forest and coming out the other way. Because often offence came from people mistaking the target of a joke with the subject of a joke. And I like to deal in those taboo subjects because no harm can come from discussing contentious issues. You can do a joke about race without it being racist. And the more emotive the subject is, the harder it is for people to get over their thing. And I think that's been going a long, long time. But now, because of all this, whatever this is, I do find myself being like my shtick used to be being the boorish guy who said the wrong thing arrogantly, stupidly, you know, and coming down on the wrong side for comic effect, and trusting that everyone in the audience got the irony. But now I don't know if they do. Now I think half of them won't get the irony or not care for it because... Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I don't want to I don't want to get the wrong round of applause. So it's put me in a...
You don't want to say something ironically and all of a sudden they're like, good point.
Well, yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah. No. Well, no, not the... Don't you clap the ones with swastikas. No. No. Don't spit out. Yeah. So it's funny. And the other thing that's come out of this year is I've never been political. I've never done political comedy. In fact, my second show was called Politics. And it was a sort of a piss take of those comedians who come out and just think it's enough to have a platform.
Right.
Where's the joke?
Right.
You know. So it was like me thinking I knew everything and getting it wrong. But now I've never been so political. Everyone's political. This last 6 months, everyone is political. You can't avoid it because something's happened that is really frightening or dangerous or
or very great for some people.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know what these people who like. Well, okay, yeah. But it does depend what side you're on. It does depend. Of course it does, yeah. What's good for you.
It's amazing that, like, you can't... There used to be a thing where if you could find the kernel of funny in the subject, regardless of whose expense it was at. If you could find that thing,
that's
you
it.
could get a crowd to laugh at it,
Because
and you can't as
it
much
should
anymore.
be non-partisan. Comedy is an intellectual pursuit. It shouldn't be always coming down on one side or platforming, because then it's not comedy anymore. It's rallying. I've heard comics come out, like Northern comics, bigoted comics in we used to call them 70s comics, come out on stage, and they just said things like, "What are we going to do about all these fucking immigrants?" And they get a round of applause, and I'm just going, where's the joke?
He's not even doing a character.
See, and I was thinking, what's the answer?
You know what I mean? So comedy should never have been that sort of thing. You're right. You've got to find the funny. And this thing about people say, they always say to me, punching up or punching down. Sometimes a joke isn't punching at all. Yeah. It can be a pun. It can just be funny. It can just be words. It doesn't. But now people are trying to find your side before they decide on whether they can laugh or like you or not.
You know who's the master of walking that line too? Colin Quinn walks that line really well, and he had a funny joke about punching down. He said comedy never punches down, and I've read that from at least 50 people who've never done comedy, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah, and it's the should. They should
always punch up.
Should, I know. It's really weird. I did a thing on Jimmy Fallon last time I was here, and it was about No, it wasn't weeing on him. Russians have got the tape of me weeing on Jimmy Fallon.
I'm trying to get them to tape me. They won't.
And I'm denying it. You just said you did. No, I didn't. No, fake news.
Yeah, alternative facts.
But you said it.
That was an alternative.
I was doing fake news. How about yourself? Yeah, it was locker room talk. Where's this locker room? Fucking prison. Where is it? Alcatraz. Where is this locker where people suddenly admit to crime?
Yeah.
Right, so
I don't know why Joe Paterno couldn't get off on locker room talk. I don't know.
Well, now you can just say it was just locker room talk. Yeah. Where was I?
You were on Fallon.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and I did a thing about I'm spoiled. When I travel first class, and they bring round sort of like nuts and champagne. You take it for granted. And last time I was on a plane, they came round and there's champagne. I said, "Oh, are there any nuts?" And she said, "Oh, we're not handing out nuts today because there's a lady getting on who's so allergic to nuts, just someone else eating them in the vicinity would cause a fatal reaction." And I go, "Oh yeah, of course." Inside I was fuming. I've never wanted nuts more. I felt that she was infringing on my human right to eat nuts. Right? And I say things like, I wish I had my own nuts. I wish I'd bought my own nuts on. But then I go, oh no, because then they'd see me eating nuts and she'd blow up like a frog, and they go on YouTube, it was Ricky Gervais eating nuts. So now what I do before I fly is I just rub myself down in nuts. Right? So I told that story on Fallon, and people were laughing. And the next day it goes out and there's outrage. But by outrage I mean 2 people on Twitter, whose children are allergic to nuts. Right? There's Ohio mums against kids with nuts. Right?
But their hashtags match.
Oh, of course.
So it's organized.
And they're talking. And at first I think, they go, that's terrible, you shouldn't do this. And I think, oh my God, they're going to stir up trouble. 24 followers, don't worry about it, right? And then they're atting Jimmy Fallon and NBC and all this and that. And one of them did a little video of her daughter saying, Ricky Gervais, I have no... Delete. Right? Right? So, not even a fucking true story, do you know what I mean, right? So, and then one of them got me. She said, you should never make jokes about food allergies. And I should have left it, but I sent back, I make jokes about AIDS, famine, paedophilia, and the Holocaust. And you're saying I should never joke about food allergies.
Right.
And she sent back, yes, but the Holocaust didn't kill children. Wow.
Is that really?
It did. Yeah, it did. Hitler, horrible, wasn't he? Oh, psychopathic, racist murderer. But if I was throwing a dinner party and there was one seat left, and I could either invite Hitler or a kid with food allergy, I know who'd ruin that party. You know what I mean?
Who would have funnier stories?
Exactly. Yeah. So anything you say, someone will find offensive because it's their thing. I've done all the things I joke about in my stand-up. There's always one person from each group that says, "Oh, I like the other stuff, but not this stuff." I go, "But you know, I was joking with the other stuff because it's not so emotive to you. So can't you take a step back and realise that I'm joking about all of it, including your thing? I'm not, I'm not really." I don't laugh about famine or cancer or AIDS. Why do you think? But can't you do that with nut allergies? You know.
Well, and it's funny too in the office that one of the best things about that was just the lack of awareness that David Brent had that his jokes just weren't flying.
Yeah,
that was it was like, he gets it. He's laughing, anybody wasn't.
Yeah. Well, look, that's quite narcissistic. That like well, let's not talk about Trump again. But like Trump, right?
right.
No, his tweet is I met a guy who said I was brilliant and he loved me and everyone loved me. It's better for it to just get it out there that everyone likes me. And David Brent used to say things like that. Everyone loves me here.
He was literally
with no proof needed. Just everyone loves me here.
He was literally doing an interview last night. Trump. Not that we're going to talk about him.
No, I know.
He was doing an interview, and at the end of the interview, he had to get the guy from ABC News in front of a photo of Inauguration Day. They weren't even talking about it. You saw it.
Yeah.
And he's like, just so you know, all these people loved me. They all were standing.
He called it a sea of love. A sea of love. That's different for you, isn't it? A sea of love is it's much stickier, isn't it? I'm drowning in Jim's sea of love. Is that all in one sitting now? He keeps it in jars. and then
and he dumps on himself.
Sea of my own love.
But it really was a David Brent moment, because like that's something that he would do to the documentary
Honestly.
crew. Like, I call it my sea of love is what they call it.
Exactly. But outside politics and what he's doing to America or the world, outside all that, as a person, he's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because he wants that validation. He is a sort of a 10-year-old boy saying, "Didn't I do well?" He wants everyone to love him, just like David Brent. He's got more in common with David Brent than he has someone like JFK, because he's doing it for hugs.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. For hugs.
David Brent fanboy office question. At the end of the Christmas special, he's taking the picture and he asks Neil to step out.
Yeah.
And he does that stupid joke and they all laugh at it.
Yeah.
Is it intentional? That's the first time you see anybody laughing at his jokes.
Yes, because it's
at the last moment in the series.
There's also a little bit of irony that he's back. It is a crap joke, but we sort of like him for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're including him. I know people that they want to be accepted in a group, and they take on a role. They take on the role of idiot to be accepted in the group. They take on the role of whipping boy. You know, they take on the role of anything. How many times a kid in school, there was a kid who was in the gang because he'd eat vomit for peanuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to go, why are you doing that? And now society's like that. Now people do anything. People live their life like an open wound to be famous. In the last 15 years, I thought The Office was the peak of it. Was the peak of sort of normal people being narcissistic and wanting to be famous. It wasn't. Now we look back on those as sort of quainter times. And so in the movie, David Brent is sort of outranked by the new narcissist, by these people who get on The Apprentice by saying, I would destroy anyone who stands in my way. There's a new alpha male. There's a new cruelty. There's a new... Do you know what I mean?
Well, the idea of celebrity is different, too. It's like, because celebrities are less impressive because people get on YouTube and they do funny shit or they do crazy shit. And you're like, what makes you interesting?
Of course.
What are you doing?
Well, and they know that. And there's this unwritten sort of contract where people... Even documentary is more demanding and intrusive now, you know. We wouldn't have heard about David Brent's breakdown in The Office. It was a politer time. But now documentaries say, well, you better show us your lowest ebb or you won't get on. Well, soon we'll have shows like Celebrity Enema. You know what I mean? But it's sad because they're just looking for something else. They're just looking for acceptance. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And the movie, by the way, the movie is hilarious.
Thank you.
Life on the Road, which is, what is it?
It comes out February 10th on Netflix.
February 10th. It's really funny.
Unlike we've been now. We've just been angry at the moment. No, it is very funny. It sounds like it's sort of social commentary.
No, it's funny.
But it is funny. It's just a man going through a bit of a breakdown, really.
Yeah.
Which is always hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. What I thought was brilliant about Life on the Road was that most people, because you could take the David Brent character and just kind of redo what you did on The Office, right? Just put him back in the documentary setting, and that just is what it is. But there's this acknowledgement of the fact that the original Office documentary was terrible for him.
Yeah.
And an explanation as to why he would invite a documentary crew back.
Well, exactly, because he's needy. He's very needy, and he thinks it's his last chance, and he wants to be famous, and he wants to be a rock star, and some of the parts of it are commendable. That he is spending his hard-earned cash. You know, he's a sales rep in Slough selling tampons, and he gets a band together of mercenary session musicians. He's hemorrhaging money just for this dream because he's been sold the lie, like we all have for the last 15 years, that you know, just if you beg to be famous, someone will go, all right then. All these talent shows, you know, and
and I felt like there was also so much more like people hated David Brent in this movie. The people that are around him do not like the people in his office don't like him anymore. Like there's not even that charming like whatever. The people in his office,
and losers must be punished and squashed these days. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what the band does too.
And that's what the band does too. And it's sort of it's not chastised anymore. But the thing is, I think the important thing is it's how the world's changed. Because even though he's the same old David Brent, we sort of see a different side of him. Because in the office he was 39. He was sort of the peak of his powers. He was the boss. He worked for basically nice people. Now he's not the boss. He's full of alpha males, and it's you know, it's comedy. It's staple. It's an ordinary guy trying to do something he's not equipped to do, and that's what we're sort of laughing at. That he's the least likely rock star ever.
Right.
But he's still got feelings.
Yeah.
He still had a breakdown after the office. He still knows that you know.
And you get these moments of acknowledgement of like he knows that things are not going well. Finally.
I did that to make it more awkward because we watch these sort of reality shows where and you know, competitions where people bordering on mentally ill are wheeled out to be sniggered at by millionaires, and we're culpable. It's
entertaining.
Yeah,
it is really. But it is like the Victorian Freak Show. It's just packaged differently now, and so it is about that. It is about fame, probably more explicitly than The Office, but it is about a man who needs he needs a hug. You know, and he's not that bad. He's not that bad a person, you know.
How was it touring musically as David Brent? That seemed like you're just living out a rock star.
It's
fantasy.
It's amazing. Even though I'm very I'm a bad mic technique. You know, I state that it's not me. It's David Brent's. You know, this is not me trying to live vicariously through David Brent. You know, but there's nothing more fun than playing to 5,000 people who are singing along to your stupid lyrics. It's crazy. It's like a Queen concert. They're in on the joke. You know, they come along and they know it's a bloke who stepped out the telly for an hour.
Right.
But it's actually happening. You know what I mean? It is I am there. It's like, I suppose I feel like, I don't know, it's like theatre. There's still a fourth wall because Brent can't acknowledge that all those people are loving it. So he still has to be a bit of a loser and a bit of a putz. But inside, it's hilarious. It's amazing, yeah. It's such a... I can see why people get addicted to being, you know, a rock star. Because it's crazy.
Was there any of that, like, before you were doing comedy and TV, you were doing music? So is there any of that, at least on a relatable note, that you're like, I, at one point, wanted to be a pop star?
I did want to be a pop star, and that was my mistake. I was 20, and I should have been wanting to be a musician.
Right.
And when I came to being a comedian, I learned from that I was a writer-director. I didn't just want to pop up on stuff. I didn't just want to be famous or just... You know, I wanted to create. That's sort of buzz for me. But no, it's not... I know it's not real. You know, the day I release my own album called Ricky Gervais Sings the Blues, that's when you should shoot me. That's when a comedian does that, it's all over. And you can't go back after that, you know, if you're trying to be sort of cool and sexy, and it's just...
Is there anything worse than a comedian who thinks he's fucking sexy? It's horrible.
Fuck it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, we shouldn't be cool. We mustn't be cool.
No.
You know, and so, you know, I know it's not me, but it is still great fun. And I use it as another tool because I can play and I can write and I can sing. So that's all real. It's funny because when I did Ghost Town, people didn't say, "Oh, you want to be a dentist, really?" Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just because it's cool to be a rock star. They assume. But no, you write about what you know. I worked in an office for 10 years and wrote about it. I was a failed rock star. So those all experiences go into writing. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All your experiences, good or bad. In fact, bad ones probably slightly more useful.
Well, the best part of the songs too is they're good enough to be songs, and yet there's always that little thing where you're like, ugh. There's that one little thing.
Exactly.
It's not a parody of a bad song.
No, it's not. The joke isn't that he can't sing or he goes wrong or the band are rubbish. If they're not comedy songs like Monty Python or something, or even Flight of the Conchords, it's the backstory that's funny. You know, something like Free Love Freeway, cracking tune, could be a Bruce tune, you know. But when you realise it's you know, all the cliches in the world, crossing America, picking up chicks, and you remember this is being sung by a 55-year-old tampon rep from Slough who's never been to America, that's when it's suddenly funny. I think listening to the album, if you don't know it's a joke, you'd go like, that's pretty good. And then you hear a funny lyric about what?
Yeah.
Basically a head on a pillow. What's that mean? You know? So there'd be little clues that it's... And he's accidentally offensive. You know, he thinks he's, you know,
Really
changing the
emotional home
He
run.
actually
Yeah.
thinks he's doing good.
He thinks he's the first person to step up and say this is enough about the plight of the Native American, and then he accidentally brings up scalping because he saw it in a Western once. You know, he doesn't. He gets his facts off Wikipedia, you know, to write the song. But yeah, no. You know, the music's real. It's all actually happening.
I
But
listened to Gypsy. I love that, Lady Gypsy. I love that. The video though is just so perfectly.
Oh,
the fact that you're wearing a watch in it. Like,
I thought of that. I didn't know he'd leave that on. Yeah. And he's dressed like some cross between Robin Hood and Gladiator.
After 18 summers, what?
I know. Well, that is a slight sort of parody of folk. I love folk music,
Right.
And so they could never say when I was 18 years
Yeah.
old. They were when I had known only 18 summers. They've got to go round the houses, you know, and it's all about the forest and wandering and meeting a girl in the woods. When
Yeah.
did that happen? When would that? Well, apart from you do. I know. But,
For the music video.
She didn't know you were there.
And she didn't want to be there.
Oh, come on. Some of us got to walk home alone. Oh, classic.
We were watching the music video for that song the other day, and we picked up on something. Do you think David Brent realized when he was filming that video that you don't need a literal interpretation of every lyric to appear in a music
That's
video?
my favourite thing. When someone so pompous about their own art has to break everything down to say, this is a particularly clever lyric. I love doing it. Now listen to the second verse, because that's the most informative. Right. And it's just it's so pedestrian to explain stuff, you know.
And gesturing towards like the heather in the ground. Like, well, no, we see it.
Of course, it's him going, aren't I clever?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's that back to that thing. Look what I did. It's a 10-year-old boy going, look, mum, look what I did.
You're literally at the end. We've all heard the whole song. We all get it. And at the end of the music video, he's pointing at the lady to say, "That's the Lady Gypsy." And it's like, we got it, David.
You got an actress.
We understand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's so blissfully aware of his greatness.
Right.
That's you know. But again, he's been trumped.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We should go to we have a great audience here.
Yeah.
That have all come out to see
Hello.
you.
I feel bad about ignoring them, but I don't know whether to wave at them or.
Well, we can ask. They've all brought questions. So I want to go.
Jesus, really?
Who's Allison Gordon? Allison, that's you. Yeah. Hello, Allison.
Hi.
Hello.
It's on.
It's on.
D-bag.
Hello.
By the way,
What did he say?
With his D-bag. He's the
What's
only.
is his name D-bag?
Yeah.
What's that stand for? Is that your rap name?
You know
is
the,
that your rapper name?
you know
D-bag.
You know the kid who eats vomit just to hang out in a gang? Welcome,
I'm sorry.
D-bag.
Yes.
He just tapped a mic to see if it was on, but he's not wearing headphones, so he wouldn't have been able to hear the
Yeah.
tap.
He just heard the tap live, like we all did.
Right.
Yeah.
That's working.
He also, like, do you notice the creases in his shirt?
Yeah.
This is bullying. I'm not being any part of this.
This is his-
I'm not being any part
No,
of
he's
this.
dressed up. He's brand new shirt. We're very proud of him. He looks great.
It's his Ricky Gervais Town Hall shirt.
Okay. Poor D-bag.
But let's go to Allison, who has a question.
I do. What is David Brent's position on Brexit?
It depends who he's talking to. Because, you know, he's so worried about just being popular that he wants to please everyone. So, like in the warehouse, he would be laughing at sexist, racist jokes. But then upstairs, he'd know those aren't good. And so his world collides when two people meet at the same time. You know, so it would depend. He would flip flop because he wants to know what the right answer is to please everyone. So I think that he'd probably want to do Remain so he could say, oh, you know, we're all in this together, and so I voted Remain on Brexit. But one good thing that came out of Brexit, it showed young people how much old people hate them. So that was the one good thing.
You know what was so great about David Brent too? It's capturing this thing that we all do, like when you're nervous in a conversation and your mouth is just moving and just shit's coming out of it.
I know. I love doing that. I love it when he's caught lying, and they go, "Did you, David?" He goes, "It's not a yes or a no." Well, what was that? Huh? And the stalling for time. David, did you do it? Huh? Like I didn't hear it, so I've got off now. I've got off. I'm away
Because they're just going to move on to another question, I'm sure.
Yeah, had one chance. Yeah. No, fake news. Yeah. So.
Or trying to like agree. Well, we only sold 150. You didn't make it onto the top charts at all. He's like, I didn't want to.
Didn't want to. Didn't want to.
Didn't want it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, who wouldn't want to make
That's
the
so
charts?
now, isn't it? Though
it really is.
That's so now. Didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. No, it's more. It was just a social media thing. I didn't want to sell anything. It was just for awareness. I didn't want to do anything like that. What are you? Do you get surprised that there are celebrities like Mel Gibson just said that he's still upset with you about the Golden Globes? Like an article came out maybe a week ago that he wanted to hit you when you made fun of him at the Golden Globes. Does it surprise you that people who have accomplished as much as these celebrities have a skin that's so thin?
It surprised me the first time I ever did it. I just thought, why do they care so much? What a little fat bloke from Reading is saying to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you make a conscious decision as the first time I did it. Do I pander to the 200 egos in the room or the 200 million people watching around the globe? No contest.
Right.
The people at home aren't winning awards. They're not millionaires, right? So what's in it for them? Well, it should be entertaining. So winning awards is not a spectator sport. I tried to make it one. And let's get it in context. They weren't a room full of wounded soldiers.
Yeah.
I was teasing them about their public behaviour.
Yeah.
I didn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's not like what Mel Gibson did. He did this, and he's going, oh God, how did that get out? It was all. I was inviting him back into polite society 3 years in a row.
Right.
But you know what I mean. But also, I didn't talk about the really bad shit.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
He asked about sugar tits.
Sugar tits is the least of his concerns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sugar tits and yeah.
And that's interesting though that you say you're bringing him back into polite society, because if we can see a moment where Mel Gibson is genuinely laughing at the sugar tits thing and kind of not even necessarily apologizing, but just saying like, I see the humor and regret that.
Yeah.
There would be this forgiveness that comes.
Well, I think he probably thought, oh, come on. It's been
Right.
10 years. I've got a film coming out. And as a journalist said to me, what do you think about Mel Gibson being nominated for an Oscar? I go, it's great. I said, I loved his direction. His direction wasn't the target of my jokes. I love Braveheart. I think he's a great director.
Yeah.
That wasn't the target of my jokes. But also, target's a strong word. What did I say? I teased him.
Yeah.
I teased him about saying something that when he was drunk. It's like, it was no big deal.
And it had to be addressed.
No one wants to be the butt of a joke. No one wants to be the butt of a joke, because I understand that, and it's. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I said anything that bad. Again, I think it often came from people mistaking the target of the joke with the subject of a joke. An example: I did a joke about the Sex and the City. I said the Golden Globe for special effects should go to the guys who airbrushed the Sex and the City poster, right? And I just go, girls, we know how old you are. Well, I saw one of you in an episode of Bonanza. Right? And Kim Cattrall said that was ageist. And I said, no, it's the opposite. Why are you denying that you're 50? What's up with being 50? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Why do you think you have to look like 20 for us to accept you? There's nothing wrong with being 50 and looking 50.
But let's point it out.
That was the smart answer.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though? It's like, it was me saying, why is Hollywood making this paradigm of women? Why can't we accept that they're 50 and fun, and you know what I mean?
Right.
It's madness.
So at heart, it's more of a joke about the fact that these women have to portray themselves that way, as opposed to, hey, look how old the women are.
I can defend every single joke I did at the Golden Globes and see where, and I know why people are angry or why they took it personally. But I justify every single thing. I don't go out there and try and ruin their day. I don't think comedy is your conscience taking a day off. I can justify every single joke, but it just gets boring. Why do I have to defend it? I want to start saying, do you think that joke was all right? I go, no, it was awful. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's put me in jail.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
You know, but I do want to explain it because there is a point to them. You know, I think there is often a point.
Well, you shouldn't have to explain it to people in show business. Like, they understand what. I mean, they're all playing murderers or playing other people, and like, why is that okay? But if you make fun of them, they're like, we don't get it.
Well, it's funny as well because journalists say, "Is there anything you won't make a joke about?" And I go, "No." Is there anything you wouldn't write about? No. It depends what you're saying. It depends what the joke is. You know, that and I think people often can't see through that you know, that it's okay to joke about anything. It depends what the joke is.
Have you bombed at all as a stand-up? Because I'm working on material and I'm going on every night and I'm bombing half the time. The jokes are doing terribly. Like, do you have any of those cleansing, like, oh man, just fucking nothing?
No, because I would have. But I was sort of already a bit famous when I first did it, so I was very careful. So, and I didn't play other people's places. I didn't go on. I didn't support. I didn't do a tour supporting. I didn't do clubs. The first gig that I did was people who'd paid to come and see me.
Right.
So I did that because I didn't grow up in that bear garden. I don't think I'd have survived, really. I wanted to listen to stuff. So my first few stand-up shows, The Office had already been out.
Right.
You know, and now I still do that. Even when I'm doing warm-up shows, I do it as a work in progress. But they're all my fans who've come to see me and paid $15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I sort of rule out that if I walked onto, you know, other people's shows trying out new material, I'd certainly bomb.
People would still enjoy it, but it's fun to do. It's like you just sit there at the paper.
Well, it depends what you mean by bombing as well. For me, bombing is you told a joke that literally no one laughed at.
Oh yeah.
If half the audience,
you've been there.
Oh
yeah.
boy.
See that's hard. That's hard to do. That is hard to do. But I often divide an audience. You know, get the laugh and the gasp, or a joke that a couple of people are cracking up at, and other people are going like that. But that's all right. I cherish that as well, as long as it, you know. For me, people say, "Are you worried about, you know, the Golden Globes bombing?" I think, well, what's bombing? For me, it's not that some people loved it and some people hated it, or everyone hated it. It's that I tell the joke right. That's all that matters to me. I've worked the joke out. I know it works. It's like, I don't know, taking a penalty in soccer. If you score, it doesn't matter what they think of your run-up or the way you hit the ball. It doesn't matter. It's and I think that with stand-up, it's not really an art. It's sort of a science. It either works or it doesn't. And sometimes that is working for you, because I know when the gasps are going to come. That's working for me. If I want a gasp out of something, I'll take it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not always, you know, set up punchline laugh. I don't think that is all there is to it.
I saw you perform it was years ago at the theater at Madison Square Garden.
Saying you bombed.
It was terrible. It was awful. It was not funny.
Oh yeah, I forgot that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I saw 10 minutes of your performance.
And you even put it on DVD. The fucking arrogance. Silence. Imagine a DVD. Silence. Just silence. No.
What a great special.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
Well,
and I'm leaving, and you just take out the audience altogether. That would be fucking great to watch that. That would be art, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Me too. And they're going, am I right?
Nothing.
Did you ever hear the day the laughter died? Andrew Dice Clay, when he was really, really going through the roof, he walked into Dangerfields for 3 nights and he recorded it. Not his audience. They had no idea he was coming, and he bombed. And he put out a double album
of the bombing
called "The Day the Laughter Died." Rick Rubin produced it. It's one of the greatest comedy albums.
Oh, that's great.
Ever. Yeah, just really shit. People walking out, yelling at him.
Oh, that's amazing to put that out.
Yeah.
The closest I've ever done is put a bad review on the back of a DVD. But it was a sort of humble brag. It was a boast, right? Because what I'd done was it was something like Chris Rock, this guy kills, Jerry Seinfeld, hilarious, Billy Connolly, funniest man in the world, Daily Mail, tasteless and unfunny. And I just thought it was funny to put theirs after people in the business. But yeah, the putting it out a DVD that no one laughs on. That's amazing.
It's
great.
Yeah, it's only a CD. There was no video, unfortunately, but it's just 3 nights in a row, and he just put it together.
Why do we like watching other people slightly die?
You know, I think that's why people go to comedy all the time. There's always the risk it will happen. There's always, they want to laugh, but there's always he might Tank. There's something fun about
He'd have to be
that.
such a good friend for me to enjoy that, though.
I love it. I never stop if I hear laughs in the Comedy Cellar, but if I hear that throat clear, I'm like,
No, I don't even like. I don't like. I'm not embarrassed for me, but I'm embarrassed for other people. I can't. I actually can't stand it. I actually put this in the second series of The Office where Brent does his speech to the Swindon lot and he's dying.
Yeah.
I went along to a competition, a final of a competition night, and I was already a bit of a stand-up, but as I say, I was on telly and I was there with another couple of comedians, and there was this poor guy. He came out and he had to do 7 minutes, right, and he was shaking like that, and everyone just went quiet immediately because he was shaking. He went, and you could hear the,
yeah.
he went, why is it, hello, why is it, no, not why is it? What? Oh, so sorry. He got a little note. He went, oh yeah. He went, you know when you're in a cab? No, the cab. Everyone really quiet. He went, and this is when he said, this was it. And I'm dying, and the other comics are fucking loving it, and I just didn't like it, right? And I'm going, oh God, poor guy. And then he went, I was meant to go on last. and he looked over at the motor and goes, I'm going to stop. Is that okay? I'll stop. And they just went, he went, oh, and then he went, thanks everyone. He said, and there was silence. They hadn't like it. He said, it was so fucking sweet and sad. He went, if I never do this again, you'll know why. It was just awful. It was awful, and I don't think he ever did do it. And that guy was Louis C.K.
Oh, that's great. We should give another member of the audience an opportunity to ask a question. Mike Natter or Natter? Mike Natter.
I love this guy.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah.
In the show Idiot Abroad, what was your favorite challenge you made Carl do, and have you done it yourself?
Yes, I've done it myself many times. Well, not myself. It was when I persuaded Carl to have a rectal examination. It was just the funniest, because I was there as well, and usually I wasn't there. I was just watching the results. But him having a prostate exam was so funny. At one point he says to the bloke, you are a real doctor, aren't you? And I was just fucking crying that he'd think that I'd stitched him up, that I'd just get a bloke in off the street to stick his finger up his arse and then tell him afterwards, no, that wasn't a doctor, that was a chef, that was a bloke who worked next door, right? So that was the funniest, because seeing it happen live, well, not literally, I didn't, but you know what I mean, but that was the funniest one for me. And yes, I've had it every year now for about 8 years.
I was watching on YouTube a thing that you guys did, where I guess in England you say pet hate instead of pet peeve.
Oh yeah.
And they asked Carl, what's your worst pet hate?
And he says when they sort of shit everywhere. I went, no, not's the worst thing a pet does, you fucking idiot. It doesn't mean that. What? I said, oh, you've never heard the term pet hate before. He went, no. I went, fucking hell.
Ricky's face. He goes like when there's shit somewhere because there's shit in the house and you don't know where it is. And Ricky's like looking at him like, do your friend shit in the house?
Yeah, I know, yeah, exactly. Not your pet.
Are you doing anything with Carl?
No, I think he's retired.
He's retired from show business altogether.
I think so. He moved to the country. Never wants to do it again.
Is he retired, or did you force him out of the business?
Well, no, he didn't know. I don't know really. It was hard enough to get him to do anything, and now I'm not pushing him to do anything. I don't think he will, but I don't know. I think he wanted to get enough money to get a house. Right. Literally that.
Just whatever a house costs.
Yeah,
that's how much money I need to make.
Right. Finger up the arse. Oh my God, that's the roof.
The basement.
The basement. Doctor, I need my basement decorated. I know what you mean. Yeah, that's always a bit awkward. Once I was. Right.
Go ahead.
No. I've had so many embarrassing things. I don't know why we still haven't got over it. We're grown-up, liberal, intelligent, educated people, but still the point where the doctor says, could I give you a rectal examination? I go, oh, yes, please. Right. And the worst thing is nowadays, because of all the stuff, we've got loads of pedos in England, right? Classically in the 70s, everyone who ever worked in the 70s is a paedophile, apparently. You know, BBC, they're all coming out
Jimmy
now.
Savile, the
oh,
big
Jimmy
guy, right?
Savile. I mean, we should have known. Jesus, have you seen him? Like a fucking walking scarecrow, right? So they say, would you like a chaperone? Like someone else comes. I said, well, that make it worse. Yeah. You know, it's bad enough you sticking your finger, and now a mate's watching. So, you know,
So a chaperone
is to make sure he's not doing anything inappropriate.
Because the doctors might just be getting off on it.
I'm 55. Do you know what I mean? Just say, I don't need someone going, he's touching you wrong. You know, I can say, hey man, two fingers, one finger. What the fuck? You haven't got any arms? What's that? No, but I was doing a rectal examination once, and it's awkward, and so they talk to make you sort of relax. And he said, big fan of Derek, by the way. So now he's talking about my big fan. I said, well, no, not now. Just do that and just let's get it over with. I was having a balls tested once by a doctor, and it was an elderly gentleman, you know, a very nice man, little moustache and everything, right? And he did it standing up, and usually they lay you down and then turn to your side, right? But this guy's standing up, so the doctor's sitting in the seat, like just sitting in a normal seat, and I'm standing with the trousers down ankles, and I'm nervous, right? So he's testing around, so I just asked a question, right? I said, what exactly are you looking for there, right? But that slowed things up. So I'm there, I'm standing there, right? Balls out, trousers out, and this doctor goes, well, so now he's sort of leaning back, and I'm standing there, and I'm listening. He's going, well, we're looking around the epidermis with some of the lumps and also, and I'm thinking, I've just made this process twice as long.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
As you're saying that, I'm making a mental note.
Your chaperone's masturbating. Yeah, don't worry about him.
Yeah. Jim just gets a job as a chaperone.
I just like to watch.
Someone want a chaperone?
Yeah. Push back, Ricky. Push back.
You would think that if at 55, as a man, you needed a chaperone to say, doctor, no.
Well,
what kind of man?
I've just thought of it, actually, that it would work, but then he wouldn't give it the choice to me, because I was thinking then that where people sue and say, oh, he touched me for money, that I could be the one that was lying. I could be saying he touched me. So the doctor would want a chaperone there to say I didn't. I just did the normal.
For a witness.
Yeah.
That's trying to protect
Would
them.
you like a witness? It's even scarier. Would you like a witness? No. Would you like an audience?
Are you on Snapchat?
Oh God! What are you doing? Doing it for YouTube? No, don't film it. So yeah, it's still awkward. It's still slightly awkward. I try and make a joke and make them laugh, but then it's like you're like flirting.
Just being charming.
Oh, look at you with your magic finger. Sorry. I was a doctor. Oh, doctor. Oh God.
Let's go to another audience question. Bobby Harris, where are you? Bobby Harris is over here. He's going to ask a question.
Hey, Ricky. Is there any truth to the rumors that we'll get more Derek episodes, even though there's been a finale?
Never say never. It's probably the thing I miss most. Really, it was just I like being Derek, and I think it would be much more poignant this year than it probably was at the time. But I don't know. I always do like 2 series and a special, and by series I mean 6.5 hours, which is so lazy. Everything I've done, you know, Office, Extras, Derek, Idiot Abroad. But having said that, I've done this movie. I'd like to think it's 50-50, because I'd hate not to do it just because I said I wouldn't, because you never know. But it's probably the thing I miss playing most out of everything I've ever done is Derek. Yeah, so maybe.
Didn't you just get nominated?
No, the thing that's just got nominated, it did when it was out. Yeah, it got a couple of Globes and Emmy nominations. Losing again. 23 Emmy nominations, and I've won 2. That's a terrible record, isn't it? See, as a comedian, I see the losses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
21 losses.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the Brent movie's just got a couple of nominations. Got the London Film Award and the National Film Award for
Well, as we said, the movie comes out.
But you guys
February.
don't care about those. Americans don't care about those
do
shitty British awards.
the British ones, no.
Yeah,
I did a Times talk once with Dave Itzkoff from the Times, right? And he was saying about the Emmys and the Golden Globes. And as a joke, I went, and 7 BAFTAs. He went, no one cares about BAFTAs. Just in front of everyone.
The movie's out February 10th on Netflix, Life on the Road. We wouldn't want to put you on the spot, but we do have a guitar here. I don't know if...
Oh, fuck's sake.
I don't know if...
But it doesn't...
Because
I will.
The audience would want...
But they got to think that I'm David Brent, otherwise it's weird. Let me get into character. There you go.
Yeah, D-bag.
That'd do, wouldn't it? Oh, can I have some water, please?
Yeah. We'll grab you
Oh,
water.
there is
and
one.
There's
Why
a
didn't
guitar
I see
right
it? Was
behind
that
you.
there when I walked in?
It was.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, this has all been one big ploy. We've been building to this the entire time.
Oh,
and-
God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all about context. No, I am just singing a song. It's like at a party. When a bloke gets the guitar up, we're going.
Isn't that great, though? Anybody,
We're
lis-
off.
Yeah, we're going to sell the sounds of Ricky Gervais.
Oh, my God.
anybody listening's just like, I heard this Ricky Gervais guy's supposed to be funny, but the song was
already-
terrible.
Yeah.
The song was
He
not-
did a stuff about compassion, and then he started singing. Oh, here we go. Is it? We're going to plug it in. I'm not a real doctor. What shall I sing?
I mean, my favorite song at the moment is probably the Disabled song. I don't know if...
I think that only works because of the production. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do Slough. That's a nice
Slough's
song.
a great
Slough
song.
is really
Slough's
nice.
a great song.
It's okay. I'll do that.
And the fact that you say equidistant really threw me at first.
Oh my God! Can I get a drink of water, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, are we getting
is it-
water?
Oh, I'll do it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise. Way down there. Hold on. Still funny. Still funny, that one. 55. Why are you down there?
While you're down there, love Finchy.
Okay. Oh, this is embarrassing, isn't it? I can't remember it. Okay. Have we started?
We're starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now.
More convenient than a Tesco Express. Close to Windsor, but the property's less. It keeps the businesses of Britain great. It's got Europe's biggest trading estate. It doesn't matter where you're from. You wanna work, then come along. The station's just got a new floor, and the motorway runs by your door. And you know just where you're heading. It's equidistant between London and Reading. Whoa, Slough, my kind of town. I don't know how anyone could put you down. Whoa, Slough, my kind of town. I don't know how anyone could put you down. To the west you've got Taplow and Bray. You've got Hillingdon the other way. It's a brilliant place to live and work. It was in Bucks, now officially it's Berks. Don't believe what the critics say, like it's soulless and boring and grey. See for yourself what you're waiting for. We're on the Bath Road, that's the A4. And you know just where you're heading. It's equidistant between London and Reading. Whoa, Slough, my kind of town. I don't know how anyone could put you down. Whoa, Slough, my kind of town. I don't know how anyone could put you down. Slough. 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 Whoa, Slough.
Just the idea.
Trauma.
Like
The trauma.
just the idea that like a guy like David Brent would think that that's a cool idea to do. Like,
sing about
because there's no
Slough.
irony to singing
he
a
knows-
song about this local town that nobody knows.
But in the film when he introduced it, he says everything in this song is factually accurate. So you might learn something. So yeah,
Because we all want to know about Slough.
yeah, and the station's just got a new floor.
right.
Yeah,
But it's a good
and
song.
again, it's accidentally offensive to Slough. You know, close to Windsor, but the profit is less. That's not a good thing, is it? If you say about your town, the profit is cheap. It's all right.
Did you have to, like, when you realize you're going to do this, do you have to research Slough to make sure you get in as many local references as you can?
I did do the old Wikipedia for things to find out about that's new that he'd be excited about. So yeah.
Ricky was on Wikipedia looking up Slough the way David Brent was on
Exactly.
Wikipedia looking
That's
up
what
Native
gave me the
Americans.
idea. That's what gave me the idea that he would definitely do that.
Yeah.
He would definitely do that for something that he didn't know about, like Native Americans. You know,
Right.
so yeah, he'd know Slough off by heart.
Of
He'd know
course.
that, but when it was something that he didn't know about,
Do you
yeah.
have to cut ideas and go, that's way too smart for David? Like that's like a Ricky thought that wouldn't work for David.
Yeah, you can't be. Yeah, you've got to write in the style of David. You cheat a little bit. The one that's cheating is the second verse to Lady Gypsy, because he probably wouldn't be stupid enough to leave in the argument with the gypsy. But it was too. It was too lovely to leave out the fact that this guy talking about this thing that may or may not have happened, that might be his fancy, but he left in the argument over the heather. You know, so it's just, but that's the only one that's cheating. The others are songs that he could have written and would write, and you know, as I say, this fantasy of his, adolescent fantasy of crossing America, picking up chicks. Everything's a cliche.
Of course
like,
it is.
like that. Sold my shack in Memphis. Bought me a Chevrolet. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's all rock songs based on the lyrics of rock songs.
It's exactly
he
that.
heard. Yeah.
It's exactly that. It's rock eating itself. Yeah.
It's like you're culturally appropriating. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We have time for one more audience question. Let's go to John Lentz. Who's John Lentz? I've been going down this row by mistake.
Yeah, I
I didn't
know.
even.
Boo. Fakes.
Wow.
Fake news. Fake news.
yeah. And they're illegal immigrants. They shouldn't even. Well, go on.
I just wanted to ask you. I think it's obvious some of the greatest rock bands have all been from England. I was wondering if you could name one or two of your favorite rock bands. And follow-up question: Have you ever met one of the Beatles?
Okay, the first one first. My favourite rock bands. I grew up with. I grew up with the Beatles and the Stones, but they were my own thing. I was sort of borrowing those from my older brothers and sisters. I do love them though. My favourite, I don't know, they're rock bands, but my favourite of all time is probably Bowie. I love Springsteen. Slightly newer would be stuff like Radiohead. I really got into that. I like folk. I think I like the folk singers. I like stuff like, you know, Dylan and Neil Young and Simon and Garfunkel. And I've met one Beatle lots of times actually. Was only two alive in there. Paul McCartney, who's a lovely, sweet little genius. Yeah.
How do you get to the point when you got like your hero? I saw David Bowie. That's what I was getting to before. He introduced you on stage.
Yeah, at
Madison Square Garden Theater. How do you, as that big of a fan, not get distracted and let it kind of take you off your focus to know that David Bowie is live, not tape, live on stage introducing you?
It was crazy how that happened. It was crazy. I know. How long have we got?
Yeah,
okay.
We can go a couple minutes. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because he'd been sort of my musical hero for 25 years, right? And then I met him. I was sort of newly famous. The Office had just gone out, and I got invited to one of those VIP things at the BBC. And it was Bowie playing to an audience, a few people like this, and I was one of them. I went with my girlfriend Jane. We went along, and the then Director General of the BBC, Greg Dyke, afterwards he bounced over to me and went, "You're a huge Bowie fan, aren't you?" I went, "Yeah, I love him." He went, "Come and meet him." I went, "Oh no!" Right? He went, "No, come and meet him." We went off. So it's me, Greg Dyke, and my girlfriend, and he shows Salman Rushdie joins us. Mental. Wow. We went down and knocked on Bowie's door, and he opened it. He was eating and saying, "Oh, hello, Salman." Went that right. He went, "Hello,
Wow.
Greg. This is Ricky and Jane. Hello, how are you doing? You enjoy that?" Oh, yeah, it was great. Right? He was just being polite. He didn't know who I was, right? It was funny because the next day, I was in the pub with my mate, and my mate said, "What'd you do last night?" And I went, "Nothing." How would I say? I was Salman Rushdie and Bowie. Why? What did you do? And so that was it. And it was like, oh my God, it was great. And then suddenly, he definitely didn't know who I was. A week later, I get an email from David Bowie. He can do that. He was David Bowie,
Wow.
right? And it said subject, The Office. So someone had given him the box set. He said, "I watched, I laughed, what do I do now?" And that was it. And we sort of became pen pals. And then, whenever I was in America, I remember it was his birthday was 8th of January, and on his, I think it was 57th birthday, I sent him an email, "Happy birthday." I thought, 57? Isn't it about time you got a proper job? Ricky Gervais, comedian, 42, right? He sent back, "I've got a proper job." David Bowie, rock star, 57. No, rock god. That was it, rock god. And then I invited him. We came over and we went to see him in his place downtown, and it's so funny because I had to separate the two, really. That I knew him and he was a friend, and he was my biggest idol. And it was weird because first time when we met him in America, went to his place, and the doorman went, "Oh, you're here to see Mr. Jones?" I thought, "Oh yeah, of course I am. Of course I am." Bowie doesn't exist, right? And he was so sweet and normal. It was just after his heart attack as well, and he was pretending to be. He made us a cup of coffee. He said, "Do you want coffee?" He went and made coffee right in the kitchen, and he came out sort of shaking, pretending to be doddery. He was just, joking about his mortality and stuff. And there was this big statue. He had a big sort of pewter, Picasso-esque sort of statue. I said, "Oh, that's amazing." He went, "Yeah, the artist there, he was trying to do what Picasso did in 2D, representing 3D, in 3D. Anyway, my daughter likes to hit that with a hammer." He's so sweet. He's so funny. And then I invited him to do extras, which was great. I sent the lyrics to him, and I said, "You got the lyrics?" He went, "Yeah." I said, "Can you do something like Life on Mars?" He went, "Oh yeah, I'll knock off a quick fucking Life on Mars for you." I realised how insulting that was. His greatest opus. And it was Chubby Little Loser. And he said, "Do you want to do a thing for the Highline?" It was the Madison Square thing was the Highline Festival. And that was my first gig in New York. And he said, I went, "Really?" And I imagined, because it was for charity, I imagined it like a fundraiser. It was all people in sort of bow ties and stuff. Of course it wasn't. It was just, he just sold normal tickets.
Right.
And I said, "Oh, have you seen my stand-up?" I said, "What should I do?" He said, "Anything you like." He said, "As long as it's delightfully offensive." And that's sweet. And he came out as a surprise. The audience went fucking mental.
Right.
And he comes out and he's got a little harmonica and he went, "Ooh, chubby little loser." Yeah. It was great. It was amazing.
Nuts.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, it was great to see. Well, let's all thank Ricky Gervais for being here. You can see Life on the Road starting February 10th on Netflix here in the States. You can listen to Jim and myself every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern over on XM 103 Series 206. And yeah, thanks a lot, man.
And Ricky,
My
you got
pleasure.
stand-up dates too.
Yes.
Are they on sale
They're
now?
not, and we don't know yet. But there'll be May in New York, and then I'll keep coming back. I'll do New York, LA, Chicago,
Great.
Vegas.
You can do Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is fun.
Yeah.
In a white jumpsuit.
right. And then marry somebody.
Yeah, my
sure.
fat years. That'd be good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ricky Gervais, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Here's our guest
here's
coming
Ricky.
in. This is Ricky Gervais.
Hello, Ricky.
Everybody, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well,
Let's see for my giant.
sit down.
You want me to hold your coffee while you?
I've actually got Trump hands. That isn't a big company.
It's a small
Tiny.
He said he's got
Trump hands.
Trump hands, so the
I
cup
have a
looks
little
much
bit.
bigger.
You want to put it down here?
Ricky is sitting down here
What can go wrong?
Yeah.
at our town hall,
Right.
putting his beverage on our
This
electronics.
is more intense than I thought.
Yeah,
This
it's a high
is,
up
right?
chair.
I know, it's like psychological, no barriers or anything. It's just everyone. Oh, look at my sweatpants.
Ah, you look good. Who cares? We're filming it. We're great.
I know, yeah.
You and Jim, I think, have.
Do I need this?
You don't need it.
No.
Why
don't
do you
think
need
so.
it? You got beds and.
It makes me look like I belong here.
You and Jim have matching athletic shoes, I think.
Ricky is really shaming me into taking my headphones off.
He is?
Yeah.
Now I'm so self-conscious.
You and Jim both have your Asics on.
like a newsreader. I don't want people seeing my legs.
Oh wow, we have similar sneakers. We really do. Aren't they awesome?
But look at Jim's little white ankle socks.
This is good for radio, isn't it? Brilliant. Fashion on the radio. They look wonderful.
They do. They're great
Oh.
shoes. Well, welcome, Ricky.
Hello.
And
Thank you for doing
congratulations on.
No, it was on its way.
Isn't it weird
was-
how mad people get at you for an
Yeah.
opinion? Like if you're trying to be funny with an opinion and that it's not their opinion, they get so angry at you for having the opinion.
Well, I think that was part of why this happened. I think people felt sick of being told what they can do and think, and it just divided into two camps, which isn't. There's 1,000 camps,
Right.
But they divided it into two, for or against, liberal elite or fascist, and it's like it's not that. Do you know what I mean? That's what it came to, and this was sort of like a reaction to that. I think that they went, no, we've had enough.
But it's just weird for like somebody like you to go from like the Golden Globes, where you were making the Hollywood liberal elite kind of upset with you because you were making fun of them, and that was a bit of your reputation.
Yeah.
To being critical of Trump, which means you are now the Hollywood liberal
Of course,
elite.
it's all mixed up. People want to know whose side you're on before they decide what you said was funny or good or
Yes.
right. They've picked a side.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So people who like Trump will not see any bad in anything he does.
There are
He
people-
said himself, I could shoot someone off Fifth Avenue, and he's right, you
Yeah.
know. And the other side won't see any good in what he does because you know what I mean? So it's they don't want to. There's this new thing of winning is more important than being right.
Right.
And it started with social media, it started with political correctness, where people now believe, they quite rightly believe their opinion is worth as much as someone else's opinion.
Yeah. Quite
Well,
rightly, you just said to be
Well,
polite.
some
yeah.
people are idiots. Like, let's be honest. No, but even if your opinion is worth as much as someone else's opinion, people now think their opinion is worth as much as other people's facts. And it's the
Right.
world gone crazy. The alternative facts. What? We used to call them lies.
Yeah.
What do you mean alternative facts?
Right.
People
And
wa-
anything you don't agree with that you see, well, fake news.
Fake
That's-
news.
That's fake
yeah.
news. That's not.
I know.
That's not the news.
I like
know.
alternative facts, though. Girls like, you said you were going to tell me that was an alternative fact.
Well, it's dangerous, isn't it, that you can have alternative facts?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's, and again, I've sort of seen this happening for like 2 or 3 years on Twitter when you do get to meet people you wouldn't normally meet, you know, unless you went to a mental home. But now I can follow them from the safety of my Hampstead mansion. Oh, you're mental. You know. But they don't like facts. It annoys them. I found out when I went on Twitter, I found out that the atheists are the most hated group in the world. Right? You know, they're the people think atheists. There was
Just
a poll,
for believing nothing.
just for not believing. yeah. They were voted least trustworthy group in America, joint bottom with rapists.
How about rapist atheists? They were the highest, actually, ironically.
Yeah. You find out things like that from Twitter, but you mainly find out that the average person is scarily misinformed.
Do you ever
That's-
regret weighing in? Like, sometimes you're like, oh, why did I say anything? I should have just said nothing.
I've gone through that. The first time I went on Twitter, I'd do a tweet, and one person who disagreed with it or misunderstood it, it would take me all day to explain the tweet, right?
Yeah.
Then I got good at just doing the... And now I just don't give a fuck, because someone's going to disagree with it. Someone's going to disagree with it just on principle. And people get in the way. They get in the way. You talk about something... And people get offended. And I try and explain to them that, no, I'm not tweeting you, I'm just tweeting. It's like going into town and seeing a notice board and it says guitar lessons. And you go, I don't want fucking guitar lessons. Right? Well, no, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And they just get in the way. It doesn't matter what you do, someone gets in the way. Like, I go, a terrible thing, I'll ban bullfighting. Someone goes, what about the kids in Syria? Yeah, but I only had what? Yes, yes. It's not an option. Who is this person going? I would save the ball, but I just saved a kid in Syria. So I've run out of all my saving abilities. I can only do one thing in my life, and
On the film.
being alive.
On
is
being
long,
alive, yeah.
not dying.
And being in
Thank
America.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
being in America. I've just landed yesterday.
Yeah. How
From
was
where?
London.
And what did you do when you were there? Were you just working, or were you just kind of hanging out?
What, in London?
Yeah.
I live there more than here. I
Okay.
I live in Hampstead, leafy Hampstead.
Are you doing stand-up when you're there?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing the last few months there, doing warm-ups.
You are.
I've done about 50, and the tour starts. It's like already a plug.
Yeah.
The tour starts in February. I'll do UK and keep going back and forth, between gigs and that. I want to do New York in May probably, and then other parts of America.
You haven't toured like
Because there are other parts of America,
Yes.
I've heard.
I don't know. I stick to here.
New Yorkers don't think there is, though. It's like
No.
it's New York and LA, and the rest is just a bunch of shit that we're not familiar with.
Right,
exactly.
Right. That's why nobody here understands how Trump won.
Yeah.
They're like, but none of us voted for him. How
Well, he didn't really.
could he? Yeah. Where do you work?
Divide the audience
Yeah,
straight away.
exactly. You just figured out immediately.
Oh, I knew. No, because I went through Brexit. So I go out on stage and I go, oh, Brexit. And after people go, oh, yeah, people have got different opinions now. Oh, yeah.
It's a good litmus test, though.
Yeah. It was an inoculation for me because I lived through Brexit. And then when this happened, I thought, yeah,